My time management is a mess. I work a full-time job, and that is my excuse. The truth is, I'm a bit vain. I work a standard 9 to 5 and still make time for the gym. However, the pittance I'm paid from work gets quickly run down every month from my healthy spending habits, supplements, organic foods, and the sheer amount I eat while bulking adds up. On top of that, the gym I went to was pretty high-end. It sucked putting so much work on my physique only for it to cost so much to maintain. This is why I tried starting something on the side to make some extra cash. Being an avid gymaholic, I would follow many fitness gurus on social media, mainly on Twitter and Instagram. Every so often, they'll post a promotion to a new fad product along with an affiliate link. It wasn't hard to figure out that these companies are probably paying them an obscene amount to make these posts. This was the spark which inspired my idea. See, I never really got into social media. I only ever used it to follow others and keep up with friends. I wasn't about to put years of work to build one up from scratch. I simply didn't have the time. So I took a shortcut. There are various sites where you can buy likes, retweets, follows, and comments for Twitter. I started small, buying a few hundred followers and a few dozen likes and retweets, and some comments too. I mainly copied what other fitness figures posted on their pages. I posted selfies, body shots, and food photos, often followed by inspirational quotes. It started off great, though it did create a new expense in my life. However, I kept telling myself that it was an investment, something that would pay off at a later date. I kept this up for a few months, buying more and more likes, followers, and so on, which made it look like I was some up-and-coming star. With this, phase 1 was complete. I was on to the next step, to email companies and sell out. The best part is that it worked. From here, it was a cycle of buying social media influence and blindly getting paid to promote products. I put a large portion of the money generated into paying for the exposure and skim whatever was left for myself. For a while, it was great. It was my first big success in life. I had created a business from nothing. I felt like I was ready to do a TED Talk. However, things soon began to turn in the strangest way possible. It started small. I'd skim through my notifications and a few comments would catch my attention. They'd say odd things in broken English like, "Your body with good. Hi, I like," which I chalked to the bots acting up. However, sometimes they'd be rather ominous, like, "Your look, watch you." They were often a scatter of words, except some would come off rather threateningly, like, "You will be finish," and "I wish you end." Obviously, I wasn't put off by this. I figured at the time that things like "watch you" was English for "follow you." But I still had an air of caution in the back of my head. To me, it was either the random comment generator just doing its thing, or some people who sniffed out my scheme. In the end though, I didn't care. I needed to keep this up because, my gosh, I love the money. And it felt so nice to finally be rewarded for all the hard work I'd put into myself. It started to get to me though. I would increase the comments and likes to how much I wanted my Twitter to look like it had grown. And with this, more weird comments kept filling my notifications. "Please end self. We will watch you. Finish yourself." Despite the strangeness of it all, it didn't get sinister until they mentioned my name. "We'll find you, Dave." This scared me to no end. I scoured their profile to see who they were and how they might know me. but their account was simple and very non-descriptive. It looked like a bot, like the ones that were active on my account. But that didn't explain why and how it said my name. It wasn't until I went back to the original post that I felt I'd figured it out. The description of my image was, "Dave is feeling cheeky," along with a picture of a large tub of ice cream, one of my cheat meals. I slapped my forehead and exclaimed, "Duh!" They were making comments generated from the description of the posts. I'd often mention cutting when talking about diet, and on those days, I would make joke threats to carbs. A mishmash of these tweets would obviously generate vaguely threatening messages, especially out of context. This satisfied me, until this correlation was no longer the case. On a post quoting a motivational message from the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, a comment replied, "David, we will hang you." This shook me. I never mentioned anything to do with hanging, and more disturbingly, I had never referred to myself as David, only as Dave. Still, they were just comments, and this was now essentially my business. Plus, as a bodybuilder, you develop a strong mentality of persevering through pain, so I saw this as a hurdle I must overcome, not a reason to quit. This was just a speed bump, I told myself. So, I ventured on. I want to say everything was smooth sailing from then on, but it wasn't. The threats just kept coming, and it was getting worse. Now, nearly all the comments were fully formed threats. They were no longer simply vague. They sounded targeted. It got to the point that real people who found my posts were questioning why it was happening, talking to each other to find out if I was involved in some form of controversy. Between the threats, though, there was a message slowly being formed. It started off as a jumble of numbers and letters, but after each one I saw, they started to form into something that made my heart sink. 2 numbers, a word, followed by the word street. It was unmistakably the first line of my address. 3 more comments followed, each one adding a detail. I couldn't stop it. Somehow they posted my full address in the comments. I deleted the post with the comments, and I deleted the few posts where I mentioned my name or anything personal. I then Googled my name and my address to see if it was leaked anywhere. It wasn't. It couldn't have been the company where I bought my likes. I never had to send my address to buy them. At this point, I'd sunk so much into the scheme that I refused to cut my loss. I still kept the account growing, and the sponsors still rolled in. I bought more comments and more likes to see if the threats could be drowned out. I was relying on the money at this point, and in a way, it was addicting. There's an underlying secret that a lot of bodybuilders overcompensate on themselves because they seek out a feeling of validation, and this was my outlet. I was not ready to give this up, so I forced myself to push through. The threats were still there, but they were sprinkled between other comments. I felt like my plan to drown them out was working. I was annoyed, however, at what was drowning them out. My comments were either threats or one number spammed over and over. 10. It looked strange promoting a new protein shake flavor with all the comments just saying 10 over and over. I figured they were trying to say 10 out of 10 in their broken English way. But I soon found that this was not the case. The next post I uploaded was of weights next to a tub of creatine. The threats were gone at this point, but now the majority of comments all said one thing: 9. This progressed further: 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, until it got to 3. This one was slightly different. 3 was followed by a vague message. 3, see you soon. 2, see you soon. 1, see you soon. It seemed to be a countdown, but to what? The answer to that was something I never wanted to find out. I called in at work for a day off and booked a random train out of town. I stayed at a hotel with no booking in case they somehow tracked my card. At this point, I had no access to the site which I bought likes from, but I decided to post anyway to keep up the traction of my account. I made sure to post an old picture of me at the gym to make it seem like I was still in town. Since I never inflated the post, there was only one comment. 0. We're here. I didn't sleep that night. When I came home, I found my apartment was just how I left it. I looked around thoroughly, but there was only one thing I found out of place. There was a note on my desk that simply said, "Sorry we missed you. We'll hopefully see you soon." I felt sick. Not just by the feeling of invasion, but the cold way the note was worded. Like it was a company simply responding to a customer. It didn't take long for brands to stop working with me. They must have done a few seconds of research and saw all the threats I was receiving and figured I was a liability for their image. At this point, I'd also stopped buying likes, and my posts tanked in views and interaction, revealing that I was obviously just a sock puppet account boosted by bots. I've stopped going on Twitter altogether. The account still exists, but now it just sits there as a reminder of the bizarre events which still scare me to this day. And besides, I've moved on to Instagram. It's fun there, and it's more picture-oriented, which is perfect for me. I'm thinking of building up a fan base. I just need to find a new site to buy likes.